It's the Absurd American Nerdcast with your hosts, Freddie and Mr. S.
Absurd American Nerdcast, and I'm your host, Dino Freddy, and this is Mr. S. Ho! Say hi, Mr. S.
Hello, everyone.
If that was a little too loud, I'm sorry, but guess what? Deal with it. This is our energy today. Right now, we're discussing kind of random topics today. Right now, we're talking about Ukraine, Russia. We're talking about different things. We're going to be going into a lot of weird things. If you guys are not really interested on random BS, or you just want to hear for conversation tips, or, you know, whatever. We just want to hear everybody's input on this, you know? We're not here to be controversial, but right now, you know, it's not looking good for the Russians at the moment. So we're going to dive into that at the moment. So, Steven, do you mind if I take the lead on this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Good overseas right now for the Russians. So there is a peninsula that is basically has like 4 million native Russians living in it, but their whole import for like growing their food is irrigated through Ukraine, and Ukraine's not going to open it. So they're going to strike famine, and they're going to win the war. That's what it's looking like.
Somebody told me that there's a nuclear threat on the U.S. from
There
Russia.
is, because Russia backed out of the treaty.
And I'm like, what else is new?
Yeah. We always have a nuclear threat.
We've always had one, and it just seems like ever since even growing up, like we've had problems with Russia, and yeah, it's just not looking good.
I don't want this to happen, but watch a motherfucker try to land in the U.S. and invade. And I guarantee you, all the people in California that are so against guns probably have like a .22 caliber in their closet, like ready to go. Like the people in the fucking hills in I would, if you're gonna go in Appalachia, America, good luck. You wanna try to fight in those forests? Do you know what's in those forests?
Is it like the Forbidden Forest?
Well, if you drop in one area and it's the wrong area, you could be winding up in an illegal pot field and you could be gunned down.
Oh, no big deal.
No big deal. Then you have hillbillies living in the redwoods in like whatever they do up there. Good luck. And then when you get out of Yosemite, watch out for bears and wolves. You're fucked.
If you survive.
Yeah, that's if you survive. That's if you survive everything that comes towards you, honestly. Like, if, like, North Korea wants to get dicey, like, and China wants to keep going, yeah, they pushed us out in the 50s, but, I mean, we could just tell South Korea to just let it go.
Let it go.
Just let it go.
Let it
just
go.
Stop playing nice. Stop with the K-pop music and just hit
We're not holding back anymore. More.
That's like the national anthem for them right now.
Let it go. Let it go.
Let it go. I had a friend that actually sounded like that. Like, one of my friends from that area. I think she was Mongolian. Because she's from Mongolia. Sense. But Mongolian, do you know Mongolian is like the #1 language in China? It's like their base language because of how much Genghis Khan fucked.
that would make more sense.
The Mongolian horde coming towards Europe was like everyone's like shitting their royal bridges.
Those were brutal times, man. It was crazy.
Everyone's like, I want to go back. I thought it would be fun, simpler, like yada. Yeah, it's simpler, but you have to remember, people were simpler too. They don't have the big brain you think you have right now, and they think you're up to something or you're a work of the devil, they'll get the whole town to kill you.
Yeah, the whole town just swarms
That
in.
won't stop. Like, stop
Witch!
asking to go back
Witch!
in time.
Witch! Burn!
That, or forget it if you were a different nationality, depending on where you are. Like, just stop going back in time. Like, we don't need
Right.
it. Like, all these people are like, I want to go back to the 50s. I want to go back to the 60s. I want to go back to the 1800s. Okay, well, if you get tuberculosis in 1899, guess what? There's no fucking cure for it yet.
Yeah.
Thank you, Red Dead.
I mean, there's polio vaccine. There's
Lou Gehrig's disease.
that's still around.
Smallpox. Well, Lou Gehrig's. Well, there's more research on it now than there was back then. But smallpox, I think, is a bad one.
You know, smallpox would be a bad one too.
I've seen before pictures and after when the smallpox took over the entire body. They look like a popcorn. They look like a popcorn.
Yeah. I mean,
It's crazy.
as far as Lou Gehrig's disease, that's also ALS. There's no cure for ALS. You're stuck. I mean, there's research, but like, I mean, you know what I went through. There's no cure. There's no good research. We donated everything from Kristen over to research because she was a scientist anyway from all of her studies and everything. So when she passed, we gave all of her like day-to-day logging and entries and all that stuff just to research because she was documenting like today I'm eating this and I feel like this and this treatment made me feel like this and did like she was very
like think about
researchy.
that. Like if you have this, like you're having your whole treatment's a research.
Yep.
An
They're
assignment.
all, yeah, there's no like, oh, we're gonna do this and it's gonna help you out. It's, hey, we can try this. She had tried stem cell something last go around before she was gone. Like,
And then
like that's intense. Like you're looking for stem cells to recreate in like your entire body because she lost completely all modes and functions. Like,
well, since what was it? I remember this as a child on the news, and I don't know why, but I remember when Christopher Reeve died. Remember when he was doing the stem cell research, and then some religious group around the world said, no, that's against God's will, and they stopped it. You can't do that anymore.
right.
Which I think is a terrible fucking thing to happen to humanity. Stop letting religion get in the way of your feelings. Just this, you need to help humanity. If the man upstairs ain't coming down, we're on our own.
Right.
We're just like a child out of like the nest.
Even so, like, you can't. Jesus didn't save everyone.
No, he did not.
Now,
But
he helped those who sought him out, which is a huge thing in my beliefs. Is you seek and you find, but at the same time, it's kind of like with all the crap that's going on. Why is there not a way for us? Why have you not given us somebody's smart brain to figure out a cure for cancer? Or, in my belief, is that we have cures for all these diseases, but we are refusing to give them out and we shut them down and kill it off, so to speak, so that these big pharmaceutical companies can still make their money, so the insurance companies can still make their money, the doctors can still make their monies. So honestly, I believe that there's cures for all this stuff out there. It's just they want to shut down and like make things quiet very quickly when you find a solution to a problem.
I mean, it's not really quiet if you have the whole world raging against it. Because, like, you have marches, you have walks, you have fundraisers. People are not quiet about this. But like, at the end...
It's just money.
Yeah.
All those fundraisers are making money. And where do those fundraisers put their money? Into research. where
It's
the
probably
doctors and the
yeah.
pharmaceuticals and everything are making even more because they're just getting this money donated to them for research.
I think once we figure out how to, and I don't know if this is a real thing because I've not had it happen to me, or I don't really know like people who've had this happen to them or
Hmm.
gotten the treatment. But if once we figure out a way to manipulate the skin tissue, I think we can go from there. I think honestly humanity could get better from there. But then again, we have to be there. Like what I mean by manipulate skin tissue is that not borrowing skin from your body to replace the skin that's on there or have your body scar up, but as like
Completely
a
regenerative.
mesh, like regenerative mesh on your body.
Can't they? I mean, if we're cloning animals, like complete full
Well,
animals that
we're
live.
well. Here's the thing. So like, now that you speak about that, yeah, we are cloning animals. Not we. I'm not a part of that team,
Yeah,
but yeah,
right.
the human race is cloning animals right now in Alaska, or I'm not really sure where they're keeping this animal that they are bringing back from the prehistoric age is a
So I
woolly
mean,
mammoth.
I feel like deep down somewhere they have a cloning facility for humans, and
Well, I think like that's the main. Sorry, I think that's like the main problem with the whole thing was because like how controversial it is.
hmm.
Cause like I feel like I know it's like your beliefs, but I honestly feel like we
Right.
should step away from the church and focus on more on humanity. Because
Hmm.
when you have the nation under God thing, I feel like that limits, and that's what happened in Baghdad. Like back in centuries ago, like it used to be the mecca of all science.
Hmm.
Before they were like, oh, that's devil's work, and then they just plummeted. Baghdad, like you could have people from other religions literally sitting at a table, and I heard this in a lecture from Neil deGrasse Tyson. Like
Hmm.
he went into full detail on how the deprogression, no, the digression, right? Is that yeah, or whatever. So like Texas is banning specific things out of their textbooks in schools about science. I feel like that's exactly what Baghdad did back in the day, and I don't care who says what, but
Right.
um, that's what happened. Like, if you want to deny it, cool. But you can go in Baghdad. You're center of all science, all are learning, and then that country fell, and I feel like that's where the U.S. is kind of going because I feel like nationalism and religion are just not really going head in head with each other, and they don't need
No.
to. And when put corporation and corporate greed and money in that, yeah, it's a good mixturing pot. Like I just feel like if we have the cures for these and we can stop human suffering and get rid of insurance, we don't
Yeah.
need insurance. Free healthcare. Like what a concept. Don't bankrupt your economy so they can fuel your economy to make money. Like are you fucking dumb? Like is people forget
Honest,
how
we need to implement what is known as the fair tax, and everyone will not in Congress, no one will agree upon it. It is
no.
a tax rate over goods and services and not on anything else. So you're going to see an increase on taxes on stuff that you buy,
Mhm.
like electronics. When you buy a new TV, your tax rate will be higher.
Wow,
But
by like what? Like $20?
even so, but I'm not 100% sure on all
No,
this
you're
stuff.
good. You're
But
good.
it's you keep 100% of your paycheck. You pay taxes on the things that you want to pay taxes on.
Yeah.
But what does that do? The people that are working now pay taxes. The people that are making illegal money, drugs, under the table stuff,
Yeah.
they now have to pay taxes. Watch our deficit go away when all this illegal money that's being made under the table with trafficking drugs and all this stuff, watch it all go away and watch us be able to afford a universal health care where it's actually valuable to go to school and get the degree, and because then you are government issued, government funded, because we have all this extra money. It and Congress won't pass this because it's one side or the other's more idealistic view. I'm like, guys, people are struggling because of all the taxes that you're taking out. Like, I pay taxes on the money that I work for. I pay taxes when I go get gas to go to and from work. I pay taxes on goods, services, and everything outside of that. I'm paying taxes out the ass. And then at the end of the year, I have to make sure I document, even though they know how much I've made, that it's like it, and then I pay the federal taxes every year. Like, I'm paying taxes and paying taxes and paying taxes and paying taxes. Like, you wonder why the middle class is no longer the middle class. We don't have a middle class anymore.
It's
We
just
have,
poor and rich.
yeah, we have everyone that's struggling to get by, maybe a little bit more less means than others, but basically we're all in the same boat. And then you have people that are just making a certain amount of money, which if you work hard and you get there and everything, that's cool. That's great. I'm not docking your hard work and everything. What I'm saying is we need a fair system for everybody, because that means everyone that's rich pays the same tax rates that we pay.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fair tax. But
But
the fact
also,
that all these people that haven't been paying these taxes are now paying their taxes makes a huge difference as well.
so from going off what you say, people paying taxes into what they want to pay taxes into,
Mm-hmm.
right? I feel like there should be
Like an annual subscription for living in
well,
America every year.
not annual subscription because that's ridiculous.
Right.
But there should be 4 categories where it's mandatory to put a little bit more money into, and then everything else is up to you. The 4 categories that I want to put up to you is food,
Mm-hmm.
oil,
Okay.
health, and medical.
Okay.
Get those 4 covered first, because food and water are the same. You need to live.
Right.
Medical is a mandatory.
Right.
Oil is a mandatory since we're not all electric, even
Right.
though we should ban oil out of our country, except for in our cars, and we should all go electric because
I feel
electric.
like it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, electric cars are faster than oil cars. Okay, anyway. And then what was the last one I said? I said food, medical, oil. Oh fuck.
I mean,
okay, I'll say
So-
military too because you
so
know we
make
have
your
to be doing
make
it.
your food tax rate a little bit lower than your electronics and goods and services tax rate.
Yeah.
Right? Because not everyone needs to go out and buy a new TV and everything, but
No.
everyone needs food.
Mhm.
Oil, again, maybe a different tax rate, or like you said, make it a beneficial if you go all electric. Give you some some sort of like kickback for, even though we kind of do that already in today's society. Because if you own an electric vehicle, you get a tax write-off for environmental things.
Oh, you do? Well,
mhm.
that's a fun fact. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
It's not like a huge thing, but it's like
It's something.
you get a little something.
Yeah.
What else? It's just like I feel like there's a way to do this. You said healthcare, but if we're going for a universal government funded healthcare, you're not going to get taxed on your visit because it's free.
True, but you
Because
still
it's
need to
being
pay
paid for.
taxes for the government to fund it because the government lives
Right.
off your taxes. So
Right.
you need medical taxed, but it's not. You can go anytime. It's free, but that's
What
how
if
it is in the UK. Build the model from Europeans in England and bring it over here because you don't need. You know how many people would probably like feel like good and stay alive and be better off if you could just go whenever the fuck you want and get whatever prescription you want and just actually like
Oh yeah, tell me about it, dude.
live. I don't know, just ballpark in the brain, save lives.
Yeah. I I like the idea of universal health care, but I also kind of disagree with the universal health care because what if I need to go to the doctor and I have a broken arm and there's a huge wait just to get an x-ray for my broken arm? You know
Steve,
what I
there's
mean?
no huge weights. There's no.
Yeah, I
That's a
know.
fucking myth.
That's it's a
That's a
what
myth.
it's a what if situation. I understand
Myth.
that, but like you give few hundred million people healthcare all of a sudden.
I mean, yeah, all at the same time, but have your. Well, here's the thing what you would have to do. Okay, well, work with your local governments. Each state has a governor, right?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Give them the regulation on how they should proceed with it, and then go by county by county.
No.
There you go. You fixed it.
I'm just saying there's definitely fixes for our tax system that really need to be looked at and
I don't need $12 trillion or $90 trillion or something going into a missile because I worked 8 hours at, such and such place, fucking
yeah,
sitting a person at their table.
I served coffee for 8 hours today and half of my paycheck is going toward the nuclear war that may or may not happen.
Yeah. Whatever.
I just yeah. And that's that.
And that is that. Yo, imagine okay, in a perfect world, we could also do like free education too. To a degree, like community colleges, I feel like most of them are jumping on the bandwagon that they are becoming free. Which I would say like
here's what I'm gonna piggyback off of you on that.
yeah.
I think that fundamental education should be free and government funded. Preschool all the way through high school, if you decide that you want to further your career,
Mhm.
schooling is then paid for. But we don't do the traditional college sense. You go in, you get some of your basics so that way like, I don't want a doctor that doesn't pass anatomy. I mean, who does?
Well, that would be a given.
Right, but like you go in and once you pass like your fundamentals, you then apprenticeship,
Apprenticeship,
yeah, underneath
which they
a
kind of
doctor
do in
that's
nursing. They kind of do that in nursing anyway.
right. You're like you're a nurse and then you're a CNA and then you kind of move up the ranks from there. I'm not sure all the ranks and everything, but once you're
Mhm.
like a certified nurse and then you're a certified nurse assistant and then you're like there's rankings to that stuff too, but like if I want to be a brain surgeon, doesn't it make sense that during your first few years of wanting to learn, you have the opportunity to have someone that is a neurosurgeon, whether it's like 3 or 4 people that are assigned to a neurosurgeon that is in the field working, and you get to shadow them for your first couple of years, which they have operation tables and everything that have the viewing platform and everything anyway. But make
Mhm.
it so that it is a classroom and you're learning. Hey, today we're doing this. I want to make sure that we're talking about it and going step by step. I'm going to be vocalizing what we're doing and then we're going to be doing it and
Mhm.
so not only are they watching and learning, like it's very hands-on. And I feel like these doctors spend years and 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 years in books, which is great. But then
Mhm.
when they see real-world practicals, it's kind of like, oh, because not all books are correct. Sometimes you have to tweak and cut little
Well,
corners to get to where you need to go.
how long is a what is it? A CNA license, certified nurse?
I think it's still 3 or 4 years. It could be two if I don't know.
I mean, think about like in
Between
okay,
two and
so
four
think
years.
about all right, even if okay, so let's say for rough estimate like 2 to 3 years, right? And that's a
Hmm.
window. That is a tight fucking window. Every day, I guarantee you're going to be coming into work almost because you're going to be on call at that point. You're there. It does not matter where you are. You're just living in the hospital for 2 to 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Think of how much experience they're going to get in 2 to 3 years.
Hmm.
So that's good. Good. But like I feel like people who are going for more intense positions have to have a longer because it's normally like people who have master degrees and stuff like that. If you want to do that, yeah, go for it. Like that's but do that on your time. Like obviously. But
Right.
like do that like everybody does it whatever they want on their own time. But
What do
like
you
do
mean?
that like
I don't think that all the extra should be government funded, and I feel like after a certain point, we should, hey, I want to be an engineer. So I'm going to go to engineering school where they're actually going to prep me and I'm not going to sit in a classroom. I'm going to, you know, hey, today we're going to learn math, but we're going to understand why it's important. Like here.
well, I think it should be kind of government funded a little bit because you still need that curriculum. You still need to, but it has to be by people who are actually giving a shit about helping the human race further their education.
Right.
Not like, because you see like all over the country recently, like what there was this massive walkout on teachers of teachers like this month. Like literally thousands were even
Uh,
posted on TikTok just to show a point that they're not being paid enough and they don't have the right materials and they have to fund their own stuff in the classroom. Like how
oh,
fucked up is that?
dude, that's nothing new, man.
I know,
Both my
like
parents are teachers growing
I
up,
know.
and my mom especially was a music teacher. Do you know how
Mhm.
ridiculous it is to get music equipment? And this is an elementary school. We're not talking like middle school, like actual brass instruments or wood instruments. We're talking like a guitar or two. We're talking like recorder flutes. And like she wanted to have some music stuff around so that you could discover music, like little bongos or um, what else did we kind of have around? The recorders
Well,
were
you
huge.
you already
Just
know that the arts and science and all that education system is the last thing on the totem pole when it comes
oh
to
yeah,
like what the government wants.
yeah.
You need to we like honestly, if you were to restructure that, you would oh, there's a lizard on my window. Hey, buddy. Hey, dude. He's just crawling around. Okay.
Checking it
Anyway,
out.
I could see him. He's like really transparent, so I could see like his guts because he's like all that white
Oh,
lizard.
interesting. So he's not like
Yeah.
fired up or whatever they say.
No, no, he's like, hold on, let me see if I can move my blinds perfectly so he won't move. Let
He
me get a
probably
better look at him.
matches the color of your windowsills perfectly.
Yeah, he's like, okay, so like he has a slight tint of yellow on him, but like he's like white. Oh, wow, they're cool. Anyway, what were you, what?
I was just making a point
Yeah.
of my mom would pay for a lot of these like instruments and stuff out of her own pocket, and it was when she finally retired, right? There
Hmm.
was a huge argument on which equipment was hers and which equipment wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, no, the school paid for this. Actually, no, I paid for this out of my own pocket.
You got the receipts? Cool.
I mean, yeah, she kept all that kind of stuff. But
Good.
anyway, it was just kind of like, no, that's ours. No, actually, I bought that out of my. And they're like, wow. And the amount of stuff that came out of that classroom for the next music teacher to try to like, it was shocking.
So
It was
like,
very shocking. I know it was
imagine,
shocking because I helped her move this stuff out.
hmm
Absolutely insane.
like, imagine being a teacher and figuring out maybe 25% of your salary or maybe more or
Mhm.
less. I don't know about the situation, but imagine a chunk of your salary is dedicated to give it back. So if you're making like as a teacher, if you're making
It's only 30, 40.
30 to 40,000 a year, right? And you're
Administrators are making 40 to 50. Regular teachers are making 25 to 30.
okay, well think about like 10%, 15% of that salary altogether being taken out to fund your to supply your classroom.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
We
now
have problems.
so now you're only making about like 20 grand a year, and
Yeah.
it's a hard life.
It is. I that
Man, going if in the 30s, if I said that I made 20 to 30,000 a year, they'd be like, "Wow."
yeah, that's like 100,000 today or more.
Wow. Oh, that's about half a mil today.
I think it's so funny that people are like, "Oh yeah, that's right. That is a half a million today." Imagine like, remember the movie A Million Ways to Die in the West, and the guy
Mhm.
pulls out a dollar bill, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, a dollar bill! Take your hat off, boy!" Like, that's like, that's crazy. That is crazy. Anyway, welcome to the podcast. How are we all doing today? Thank you for joining. I'm Dino Freddy. This is Mr. SL, and this is the Absurd American Nerdcast. We're talking a lot of political things today, but it's not about our show. We just
It's
watch
kind
the
of
news.
in general. It's not really a view on one side or the other. It's just kind of a what could we do to fix things? Well, it's more like an ideal thing than it is a political stance review. Unless you want to make it one, and then
I know a lot of people are really weird about social media, and yes, we should be very cautious about social media. But I see a lot. This is the reason why we bring up stuff like this, because it's okay to have conversations like this. It's okay to express, because we need to talk about this. Stop not talking about this. Like, if you have a problem with something, just try to find people and have a conversation. Even though they disagree with you, it is important to have that conversation. Because that is the beauty of a conversation.
Yeah. No, you don't have to get along with absolutely everyone that you get along with. I mean,
like me and Steven, we have two different views.
Yeah.
We're totally sometimes like on where we stand, but we also have a lot of common ground where we could be like, okay, yes, I believe in that, and that's how we get along. But like,
even the stuff that like you and I completely disagree on, the conversations that we have about them is great.
Oh my god, yeah, dude.
That's more than anything. Is like, yeah, if we talk like super politically about something like the next presidential debate or something, and I like one candidate and he likes the other candidate, we'll sit there and we'll just talk back and forth about policies, ideals, why I think this person's the best, why he thinks that person. We have like miniature debates for little reason, and I think it's great. It's healthy. Like, it's good to have someone else's view and to be able to understand it so that you can make your point better. To try to, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's just healthy. It's healthy to have both sides of spectrums.
I read this book back in high school. I didn't understand it a lot, so I put it down for like a while, and it was called It was by Plato. You know, philosopher. Yeah, sorry, I'm still waking up. I'm so fucking tongue-tied.
The philosopher.
Philosopher, yes. Hi. Okay, so back in high school, I read this book called The Republic, and it's basically a conversation at dinner. It is one of the most difficult books to get through. It is. Look how thick this shit is. This is a dinner conversation.
Oh wow.
But it talks about the Republic. The state of the world, the state of the known world at the time. This book, people argued, people disagreed, people got along, people had similarities to people, but it is a great conversation. And I recommend it to literally that or The Trial and Death of Socrates. I know those are like weird philosophical books. Oh, he's a philosopher. He does this. But yeah, but it's interesting to see the perspective of thousands of years ago and see how it's still the same today.
I would like to hear Neil deGrasse Tyson's opinions on that book.
Oh my god, I would listen to that man.
Read it.
If he was if he was my next door neighbor, I would say, hey, you want to have dinner at my house every night and just talk about everything? Because like I would love to have him on this podcast and I want to hear him melt my mind. I just want to see it.
Right.
Because like he goes on Joe Rogan a lot. He's amazing, and I know a lot of people are controversial on Joe Rogan. I'm not saying he's amazing. I'm saying Neil's amazing. But I mean, Joe's great. He has really cool conversations with like archaeologists and paleontologists and sometimes scientists that come on. And then he has the wackos that come on, but like the people who believe in Bigfoot, who say they have dinner with Bigfoot, like whatever, every night.
Yeah, but everything's content. Like, you have to have the good and the bad.
Exactly. You have to tackle, and that's what his podcast does. He doesn't categorize himself in one thing. It's literally across the fucking board. And yeah, sometimes he does some DMT on the podcast, but whatever. I want to do shrooms one day and see how that goes. But at the end of the day, like, he has a lot of interesting people on there, and it's a great way to study conversation. Like, forget who you're listening to, and just listen. And don't take it in. Don't like. I mean, if you learn something from it from somebody who is actually an expert in their field, then yeah, go for it. Like, learn as much as you can. But like, listen how conversations are, because you can, in his podcast, like, you can tell who's lying and who's not. By far, you could tell who's lying and tell who's not. The only person that I was ever like skeptical about if he was telling the truth or not was Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar was a kid back in the day, in I think Arizona or something, but he got government funded, and he built a rocket engine on his Honda, on one of his cars. A rocket engine. Yeah, a teenager. Yeah, right, right. Goes into college, graduates, gets hired by the government, and works, I think, at Area 51. And then he said he saw an alien that was alive.
Okay.
And he saw the spaceship that crashed. But he also saw the technology of hand recognition systems, because that's a real thing. They actually found out what he was saying was true about there was this handprint model, and you can look it up. It's a real thing, because now it's open, now it's a real thing because it's old tech. But they used to have him place his hand back then, and it would read his fingerprints, and it would match who he is, and then he would go in. And it's a really interesting thing, but his story has never changed. It's the same story, and I'm telling you right now, this man has not had a different story for over, I don't know, 30, 40 years or less.
Well, it makes it more truthful. If it's the same
But that's
details every
that's
time.
the only person that I was like kind of skeptic on. But other than that, everybody else who comes on there, like the Bigfoot people, I look at that episode, I don't listen to it, I just skip it. Just, if Bigfoot was a thing, we would probably find it. We have giant squids; those are real. Giant octopuses, they're real. There was back in early 2000s, I think it was early 2000s, 2010s maybe. I remember reading this article in the news that Japanese scuba divers broke open. There was this wall that collapsed, and they found a cavern, but they found like these prehistoric fish that haven't been alive since the Cretaceous period. And the scientists came in, tried to take them out, but they all died because the water temperatures are drastic.
Yeah.
All that time. But they've been just living and breathing in that own ecosystem in a cave that has been sealed off from the known world for centuries. And that's a real thing. You can look that up. That is a real fucking thing. And I think the government, wherever they found it at, whatever country they found it in, but I think the government came out and was like, yeah, this is real. Just,
Yeah,
what I'm saying is like I'm getting off topic. I'm so sorry. But what I'm saying is, like, if you're looking for good conversation starters, like, I recommend looking up podcasts. Just listen to people. Like, YouTube's a beautiful tool. Twitch is okay.
YouTube's a lot better, especially if you're trying to learn and like do stuff on your own. I've learned a lot. Like, I mean, from putting in a new CPU into my computer to
fixing a sink for me.
Oh yeah, installing a toilet.
Yeah, dude, you can YouTube literally anything.
Anything,
it's
and
scary.
You can learn how to do it. How to tie a tie.
Dude, yeah, that's how I learned to do like the bow tie thing. I used to like it's cool.
I still look up the same video of how to tie a tie if I ever need to, because I don't know how to do it just out of memory, because I never really had the necessity to do it. I wore plenty of ties growing up. I just always, I don't know.
You know what the worst thing is?
It's different when you're in theater, because then everyone just ties it for you if you don't know how to do it, and then you just throw it on and off, you know?
You know, I will go with that, but you know what the worst thing is? You said theater. When I'm watching a movie and I'm like, why don't they just look up how to tie a tie on YouTube? And that was my first millennial thought. And I go, this movie's set in the 1900s. So they don't have YouTube. Relax.
Right. You watch like
those
old movies before internet was a thing. And you're like, why don't you just look that up? Oh yeah, that's right, you can't.
Do you remember the birth of the internet? I mean, we weren't around during the 80s, but when the computer boomed.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody just the other day where it's like, how old are you? And I'm like, dial-up internet old.
Dial-up.
You had to choose between your phone and using the internet. And I go, and then the spectacle of the world came, and it was called a cable modem, where we could separate our internet from our telephones so that we could have phone conversations and surf the internet with ease.
You remember the startup? Because I still have dream. I can hear that startup sound in my ear right now. I'm thinking about it, and you know that used to be like my mom used to have her computer in our room because we had a huge fucking room, huge room, right?
Mhm.
Me and my sister shared a room as a kid. We lived in a townhouse back in Long Island. And I remember like she would go on her computer, but I didn't have lullaby music. I had the dial-up tone from AOL. And then I was like, "Mom, you gotta lower the fucking things because I'm hearing that in my sleep." I'm a wee tyke. I'm like probably like 10 at the time, and I'm like, I just memorized this
And
because
you're
I just heard it every fucking night. And
remember
it was just so
AOL
annoying.
Instant Messenger and like talking to your
IMing
friends?
people. Yeah. Dude, I feel like a grandpa talking about this, but you remember when you used to judge people on their height of how much you liked them on
Yeah,
MySpace?
yeah, yeah.
Why am I not in the first spot? I'm your girlfriend. Why am I not in the first spot? Second spot, I'm your best friends. At the point, I
Uh,
had a top 40 list.
yeah, I think I had a top 100, and I found the coding to make a top 100, and I literally went through and just was like, here's 100 people.
God, what a time.
It was right underneath my Hawaiian name generator
Hmm.
that I got, you know.
Okay. I had. Okay, I remember my screen, but I had a really weird blue skull. Like a blue flaming skull. It looked like Ghost Rider, but it was a knockoff Ghost Rider looking thing, online thing. But I had like a playlist from, God, I don't know, some MP3 website, but it wasn't LimeWire. I used LimeWire and I fucked up my computer. Bad. But I got the
LimeWire,
Dark Knight on my iPod Touch.
LimeWire, FrostWire. Um, if did you ever get like when you were at school, did you ever go through like websites that would block out blockers on your school's network?
Yeah. Dude, we
Like
had, okay, so,
V Tunnel was the one that I was thinking of, where you would literally go to vtunnel.com and then you could browse the internet within that search engine, so that
mhm.
all the other like stuff that was blocking out all the websites like for games and stuff, stupid stuff, when I was in like school. So I would sit there and be able to like play video games while I was supposed to be doing schoolwork.
Speaking of games, there was this kid that found out how to get into a porn website game browser. In our computer class, our computer knowledge class and graphic design class. So
Nice.
the teacher caught him, but I remember he played this game called Living like Larry or something like that, or Love Suit Larry or whatever it was called. It's on Steam and I've seen it because I was like, what happened to this game? So I looked it up and I was like, oh, this was a real fucking thing. It wasn't in my head. But I remember he was tracing uh in Paint, in Microsoft Paint, he was tracing the outline to the box cover, which is Larry's little head between huge boobs. And I was like, I know this is middle school, but you're gonna get caught. Like, this is funny, but you're gonna get caught. Never got caught.
Never got
Never got
caught.
caught. Never got caught. Nope, never found him. Secrets out on my podcast, buddy. Ugh.
Shh. Secrets.
Talking about secrets, What's a juicy secret that you can tell that you have no affiliation with the person anymore that you can say?
Do you know the band The National?
Yeah.
Their original lead singer, I dated his daughter.
Like, for real?
Yeah.
Damn.
I've met
Right
him.
on.
I've spent time with him. Yep.
I didn't even know that. Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah,
That's...
she's an ex.
Man, I wish I had a candid camera, like, from The Office and just going, like...
I mean, this is gonna make it very easy to look up who they are, but his wife was the main designer behind Hollister, fashion designer. It's gonna make it
Okay.
very easy for people to look up to see who they are, but different last name. Nope, he still has the original last name. But yeah.
The more you know, folks, the more you know. See, Steve, I don't know if you got the gist of our podcast today, but right now we're doing just random bullshit.
Random
And
stuff.
we like talking randomly. We just like, I feel like this is like, I don't know, you get to learn new things about each other.
I mean, I feel like it's a little bit of a deep dive if you want to really find out who they are, but
The deep dive.
the deep dive. But yeah, that's someone in my past.
Okay, so I have no affiliation with this person whatsoever, but I used to know this chap, and I say chap, back in the day, and this made me like really uncomfortable because I never really hung out with him after this. This is, if for those who want to skip this, go ahead and skip this. But he had like this old World War II Nazi knife. It was a command officer knife, but his dad had it because he bought it at an auction.
Okay.
Because it was like rusted. It's rusted to shit. Like there's
Okay.
like still mud buildup on it because nothing's been touched. But he still had it, and he was like, "Wow, this is crazy. I'm holding like a piece of history right now, but you shouldn't have this
Mhm.
because it's Nazi propaganda. You're not allowed to have that. That's illegal."
If anything, it should be turned into a museum for
Yes,
things.
I think you should turn it to a museum, or you should get it smelted down or melted into literally anything else. Just say, "Hey, here's the extra metal. Burn it. I don't give a shit."
I mean, if it hasn't been touched and I mean, it's a piece of crap, you might as well turn it in and let it be history.
Yeah, it is.
Or even better, rent it to the history museum. And
I also think it's really funny because like they said, "Oh, we're gonna last 1,000 years," and yet here's your knife in the mud, buddy.
that is almost trash.
Yeah, it's legit garbage.
It's garbage, but in the right hands, it's historical, and I feel like a museum would be okay, but I don't even think that they would have it on display. You know?
Well, depend if you're in like I don't know what place would like. I mean, like yeah, it's super controversial to have even a piece of fragment of that, but like I just what in the right sense would it? I mean, we would have to see the history. We have to see what this is. There's proof of it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people out there that deny it because they're idiots. And they're fucking racist. Nazi assholes. But
Mm-hmm.
if you display it in the right light for educational purposes to tell people this was wrong, this is a dark time in human history, and we'll never see the light of it again. Ever. I think it's displayed that way, it's okay. But I think also it should be burned as well.
I could
Stuff like
see it in like a Holocaust museum.
Yeah, like at the beginning or towards the end, not in the middle. You know,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, you can put it on display for the middle part, because, I mean, it was probably used somewhere for something like that.
Really twisted to think it was used, but yeah, totally. I'm fucking with you. Oh my god, I love getting you fucking flustered.
Like, so kind of
You are
weird that you
so-
think that it's like been used. I'm like, it's a military knife during a very time
I
of
was just
history.
fucking
Like,
with
it's
you.
probably been used.
No, but yeah, I saw that and I got it weirded out by it, and I don't know, I fell out of contact with that guy, and we just haven't been friends since. But it was just kind of weird being presented that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like a secret that I can say because I have no affiliation with that person anymore, you know?
Yeah, I
For
don't have any affiliation with
almost
mine
close
either.
to 10 years now?
Yeah.
God, was it 10? Has it been 10 years? Oh my god, it has been 10 years. Yeah.
That's funny because that person has been out of my life for over 10 years now too. So we both share 10 years secrets.
10 years! Woo! Look at that. Family secrets. Yo, those are the dangerous ones.
Family
Family secrets,
secrets?
I feel like family secrets, like, I'm not being incriminated on this. I'm not going to be incriminated on anything because it wasn't me. It's just part of my family. But you know I have a rich history with the Italian mob in my family,
Yeah,
which
I
I'm
did
not,
know that.
you know, you'll never find out who it is. Good luck. But
And if you do, I'd watch out.
I'd watch out. But I mean, and this was all like kind of like true shit too. So I found out from my grandfather that I'm not gonna say their name for purpose of this
Right.
conversation.
Please don't.
But
You've
but I
told me
found out
before,
his
but like,
dad was an assassin, was a hitman for the five families in New York, and that he was, from what I was told, he was complaining about him not getting his dues on helping like form the five families better. And so like they found out that, well, they didn't find out, but they knew this guy, my grandfather's father, had a bad temper. And this may be the key on figuring out who it is. He had a bad temper, and they drew him out in the middle of the street, and they shot him because he was so angry at the guy. That was the hit on him. And so he got shot in the head in the middle of the road, in the street, and full of people, in front of everybody in the neighborhood, and that was the hit on him.
wow. Very public execution, huh?
Yeah, well, you gotta you gotta send a message, you know, from what I was told. But I had my grandfather. He had pictures. He has stuff from back in that time. You know, he had a lot of stories about him and his crew running around New York City. I want to say Queens, Brooklyn, or Bronx at the time. I don't really remember which part. Or he was probably in Jersey too. But like, he was a garbage man. That was like his thing. And you know how the unions were ran by the Italian mob back in the day under Jimmy Hoffa. So like that, being involved with all that shit like is crazy. Is crazy.
I wish
Think
I had
about it.
some kind of family secret like that. I really don't.
I also
Like-
that's all like the cool shit I have in my family. So go
My
ahead.
dad's side grandmother was last name Peabody. I wish there was association with the Peabody hotels, but there's not.
That'd be so sick.
Yeah, right? Like, could I be some, like, distant trust fund? Oh, you know, these people.
Anyone want to adopt us into a rich family?
Like, let's do it.
I'll cook, I'll clean, I'll do whatever the fuck you want. I'll do whatever. Just adopt me into a rich family.
Please help me and make all the financial troubles just go away indefinitely. That would be nice. And I'll just be a part of your world.
A part of your world.
Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat?
Isn't it neat? Crystals are coming out. Anyway. But
I just don't
yeah.
know of another juicy family secret. Like,
Family secrets are weird.
there's really not like. I came from a farm town. Like, there's nothing really to be secretive about there.
Which state are you from again? Ohio?
Indiana.
Indiana.
Yeah. Corn, soybeans, cows, and pigs. Like, my dad's side of the family is known for pigs and cattle. Like, around Indiana, if you use my last name, that's oh, you cattle? No, I grew up in the city. I'm not a farmer. City, town. I correct that all the time.
Was the water tower the only tall structure around?
Yeah, the water tower and the courthouse about the same height.
Okay.
Yeah.
Courthouses had to be massive back in the day to let you know the law is here.
We have like a three-story, but it has like a dome thing and makes it 4-story and all that, whatever. But it is the largest limestone. It's either the largest limestone pillars as one big piece, or the largest collection altogether for the courthouse, because the whole thing is limestone. Makes it very. I guess that's the most valuable thing in the city is the entire courthouse because limestone's very rare. Um, people can look that up and know where I'm from. There you go. I'm never there. So enjoy your visit to nowhere.
I would rather just, I don't know, just hearing about traveling to the Midwest just makes me want to vomit.
I mean, there's a lot of people that are from around where I'm at because it's just so secluded. I think William Shatner? He played he was in Star Trek, right? He was the second commander. I'm not a Trekkie.
So
but
James T. Kirk was the second commander who came on in the first season because there was another I'm not a Trekkie either. I watched the first episode,
right.
But there was a different guy. But then Shatner came in, and then that was him.
William Shatner is from around my area, and he shows up in my town every so often. The other celebrity that I know of that's actually kind of making a name for himself right now is Drew Powell, which he was in Gotham, and he was also in Malcolm in the Middle. He was the older brother's best friend that was in military. He played his like friend, and then he was also in the Marine as one of the security guards that was sitting next to John Cena.
But I think like Gotham was his big role, right?
Yeah, Gotham was his big breakout.
Because he was like he turned into Solomon Grundy, right? That's right.
Yeah, that's Drew. My parents used to babysit him. His family and my family are friends, and my parents used to babysit him when he was little. Fun fact.
So if you're hearing this, buddy, hi. Hope you're doing
well.
Hey,
Drew. I loved your work. Even the commercials that went around town that when you were first starting, like my parents showed me the commercials and stuff. I mean, fun times. I believe it was like a skiing commercial. I believe. I remember.
I think that's really cool though. Like, not because you have that stardom, like not hookup, but like you know him. Like that's really cool. Like
yeah, I've met him in Pizza Hut.
Like you meet him, you see where he started, and you see where he is now, and that's like great inspiration for any of those who want to like get out there and branch out. That's awesome.
Like I was in high school, and my family was like, "Oh, that's Drew." He was just sitting at a table across from ours at Pizza Hut, and that's how I met him. But I mean, he wouldn't know me at all.
Yeah.
He just wouldn't. Like he would more so know my parents than me. This would be cool. every so often he posts about the donut shop that's in our town, which is a good donut shop.
What's it
But
called?
Titus Donut Shop. Oh,
Do you have like a favorite donut to get from there to recommend
hmm
people who are trying to visit?
the chocolate covered cream filled or the jelly donuts. But they're known for their Persian donuts.
Okay.
But I'm not a fan of the Persian donuts. They have cream filled Persian, which are good too. But they take the icing and they put it in the coffee. They make hot and iced Persian coffee with their donut glaze.
hmm This makes me want to go to
So
Everglades right now. For
so
those who don't
good.
know what Everglades is, so like we live in Florida. We live in the central part of Florida, so we go to Disney Springs a lot. If you guys want to know, you'll never find us. There's so many fucking people here. But Everglades is a restaurant that did it start in Springs or it came to Springs from somewhere?
It probably came in the Springs.
Okay, so Everglades is like Voodoo Donut but on crack, and it's amazing because their ice cold brews over there are so good. Their
I need to
coffee
go and
like
check that
donut.
out. I've never
Huh?
been. I've never been. I need to go.
You want to go?
Sure.
When?
We'll
Let's
figure it
make it.
out.
Let's make a plan. Let's make a plan right on here for everyone to hear. Hey, Steve, what are you
on
doing? I
on
don't
Tuesday.
know. I,
We're going there on Tuesday and get on our coffee.
so let's go after 4:30 because that's when I'm done babysitting, and then let's go. Um,
Trying to go
get
today?
some today.
Aren't you babysitting today?
I am babysitting. I'm babysitting all week.
Oh, okay. Um, we can plan tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Go
I
get
have.
coffee and donuts.
Yeah, I could drive. Let me drive to yours, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. Coffee
Hey,
and donuts
Drew,
tomorrow.
do you want anything? Let us know in an edit. Maybe going
Yeah.
like this, or I won't call. I don't know.
I don't
Something
know.
weird.
How do you take your coffee? What kind of donuts do you want? Tell us. Are you more of a bagel guy? We got bagels.
We got bagels, not bagels. Bagels. I saw a TikTok of a guy saying, "Wow, California has the best bagels around." I'm like, "You're a fucking idiot. Get out of here." My inner New Yorker just came out and was like,
You want to know another fun stuff? My brother-in-law is from Minnesota.
"Don't you know?"
Oh yeah, the place with the snows. When my sister and him were dating, and I
Mhm.
think this was before they were engaged or right after they were engaged.
Mhm.
We were leaving, and he asked me if I could grab the bag, and I go, "What?" He goes, "Can you grab the bag?" And I said, I just looked at him like,
This motherfucker say bagel?
and I'm like, say that one, grab the bag and take it to the car. And I looked at him and I said, I don't know what you're talking about, and I walked out. I just left. This is me, high school me, right? Like, I don't know what that is. Fuck you. I'm moving on. Um, he was talking about a bag. He was asking me to grab the bag off the counter and take it to the car. It was a bag. I have no idea what a bag is. I thought he was asking me to do something or what. I don't know. I'm like, I'm not a beggar. I'm sorry. Um, but he was trying to get me to grab the bag and take it to the car, and I ended up just walking out saying, I don't know what the fuck that is. Since then, he's lost his accent because
No one should ever talk like that.
I gave him so much crap and ridicule that now he has like another, just like a northwestern whatever accent. He just sounds like I do. It's great.
You can sound whatever the fuck you want, but oh
No
my
more
god, please
snores.
pronounce bag correctly.
Big. That's how they say it up there. Big. Can you grab the big? And I know that it's true because I've heard his mom and his dad say that. The big. And I just laugh because I'm like, man, I remember that moment so vividly that you just you literally lost your accent because I made fun of it so much. Oh well.
Uh,
He's
I
better for it. Now everyone can understand you easier. You're welcome. Also, I love you. Thank you.
Oh my god. What a time to be alive.
Right.
You know? God.
That's what I'm saying.
The sun was getting a little bright for me.
It's all good. Well, hey,
Still
man.
waking up.
I feel like we've kind of gone through the ringer. It's been a good day.
Are we done?
I don't know. Do you have anything else that you would like to chat about? We've been
Hey everybody,
through...
thank you for joining us today. This is your host, Dino Freddy and Mr. Essel. Be sure to check out Mr. Essel's streams on Twitch and check out the Absurd American Nerdcast with us beautifully hosting. And if you guys don't like this episode, I mean, it's not for everybody, but this is going to be called a bullshitting episode. We're just kind of fucking talking random things. And my cat has arrived. Guys, can you stop, like, fighting each other? Thanks. But anyway, I'm your host, Dino Freddy.
And I'm Mr. S, man. It's been a fun time. We'll see you in the next one.
Peace.
This has been the Absurd America Nerdcast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. And click here for more.